Well, hi guys, it's that time. It's our Bible teaching snippet of the day. Well, today I'm going to hop right in and we're going to do part 3 of looking into and considering a different meaning of 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 16. Now, I'm going to do a quick review in case this is the first part of the series you've watched, okay? I showed this yesterday, and as you can see, I've got the is highlighted. And this is how most of the Bibles, and what I like about some translations is they will put in italics anything that was added in. So what I always do, guys, is I will take that word out, whether it's is or his or there or whatever that italics word is. I take that out and I read it in several literal translations without those added words in it, okay? Because a lot of times one word will completely change the meaning of a scripture. And I'm proposing that this is what we've done with this scripture, not knowingly, okay? I don't think any of us intentionally try to manipulate and change scripture, okay? But a lot of times what we've been taught, and sometimes what the translators put in, every translation has the bias of the beliefs of whoever translated that, because the words can have several different meanings. But I can do a different teaching on that, and I have in the past. But let's get back on target here. 2 Timothy 3:16, it says here, and as I said in a lot, they add this word is. All scripture is God-breathed. And what that sounds like is that everything, starting in Genesis 1:1 all the way through Revelation, 22:21 or 21:22, anyway, all the way to the end of the Bible, okay? That every single word in there was inspired and written basically by God. And that's a claim that the Bible doesn't even make about itself, okay? So here is I showed you that print off. I want to show you this real quick, and I'm going to read it to you. This is two different translations that did not add the word is into the scripture, okay? This is the American Standard Version. Every scripture inspired of God is also profitable for teaching, reproof, correction, and for instruction, which is in righteousness. So you see, it's saying that every scripture inspired by God will be useful to use. It's not claiming that every single word in the entire Bible has been kept intact and it was 100% written by God and all of that, okay? Let's go to the Aramaic, a Bible in plain English. And I'm going to tell you, I really like to read the Aramaic, the Weast, not the, yes, no, that's not the Weast, it's the Aramaic in plain English. I've got it right over here. It says Holy Bible on the corner. I can't think of Lanza. That's his name, Lanza. And there's 3 or 4 others, but this is the Aramaic in plain English. Here we go. Every writing which is written by the Spirit is profitable for teaching. Look at that. Now that's about as plain as it gets. Every writing which is written by, which means that if it is actually truly God-inspired, written by the Spirit of God, it's going to be good and profitable for teaching. Now, I've talked to you about that today. And I'm going to try one more time, because I don't think I did a very good job, because it's just off the cuff yesterday, of just a thought I had. At the end, I talked about pizza. So I want to try that again. Let's read it from this perspective. All pizzas are made by Frank. That means that not one pizza has ever been made that will ever be made will be made by anybody other than Frank. Every pizza has Frank's fingerprints on it, right? Now watch. Let's read it the way it actually is talking about the pizza. Every pizza made by Frank is profitable or good. Every pizza that Frank personally put his hands in and made is good. Okay, so those are 2 different claims, right? Okay, now the next thing, and thank you, Ralph, you said something about that on your post yesterday, and yes, I didn't do as good on that analogy as normal, but hopefully today I cleaned it up a little. Okay, I also want to talk about Mike. Mike left a message in the comment section yesterday afternoon, and he was talking about even the Bible lets us know that the Bible is not inerrant, infallible, and that God did not do supernatural acts to force mankind and to keep the Bible word for word 100% accurate, and he wrote all of it. Watch, this is, Mike brought up Jeremiah 8:8, and I did talk about Jeremiah 8:8 on part 1, but I think it's worth saying it, and thank you, Mike, for your conversation with me. I want to read Jeremiah 8:8. How can you say, we are wise, and the law of the Lord is with us? Question mark. But behold, the lying pen of the scribes have made it a lie. Okay, so when they talked about the law, that was the Torah and the writings that they used. Okay, let's go a little bit further. We're going to look at Jeremiah 23:36, and this is where it's speaking directly to the scribes, the ones that wrote out the scrolls. Okay, for you have perverted the words of the living God, of the Lord of hosts, of our God. And I believe it goes a little bit further than that. I don't know that I copied the entire verse, but I think I've read enough to you that you can see right there in Jeremiah, we see that the scribes used their pens and changed what was written. Okay, now, I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and I want to talk a little bit to you. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover on this. The next detail that I want to talk about, and I want us to consider this together, is did Jesus actually claim that every single word that has ever been written on every Old Testament scroll, because the New Testament hadn't been written, by the way. And can I throw this in? Did you know even in 2 Timothy 3:16, the writer, Paul, was not making a claim that the New Testament was without error and that every single word that he wrote and everybody else that wrote was 100% God. Some of it, he even says that this is my opinion. Yes, Paul is telling you, I'm writing here in this letter to you Corinthians, this is my thoughts on this particular matter. So are we hoping that Paul was inspired by God? Well, sometimes we're not 100% inspired by God, okay? Let's be fair about this, guys, okay? I've heard preachers get up on the stage and preach stuff that I have done in-depth studies on, and I'm just sitting there going, oh my goodness, he has not studied this. Does that make him a bad person? No, it doesn't make him a bad person, but it does mean that possibly he's wrong. And many of us already know this because you hear it all the time. Well, you just spit the wood out. You know, you chew the grass and spit the weeds out, or the wood out. So see, we do know. Really, we know. Even when somebody's on stage preaching or teaching or giving a prophecy, a lot of times part of it's been inspired by the Spirit, right? And they're getting that right. But then they'll go and put their human doo-doo right up on top of that, right? Okay, so let me get on to this real quick. What I was saying, though, is that we need to look at it and see if Jesus actually said that the Old Testament scrolls were infallible and without any error and had never been changed. Or that, and this is more important, did Jesus ever claim that every single scroll that they were using in the temple to teach with was 100% truth, T-R-U-T-H, or did he say possibly something different? And I want to bring that to light today. But let me finalize one more thought on 2 Timothy 3:16. What I wanted to complete my thought there is that Paul was not claiming anything about the New Testament because it had not been written yet. I hope you got that part, okay? So why are we making that claim and applying it to that? Anyway, so let me see if I can find the rest of what I wanted to talk to with you today. And it looks like I've lost it on my iPad, but that's okay. We'll find it. Let me type it in real quick and it'll come right up. Well, obviously not. Let's see. There she is right there. That's what I'm looking for. I want to show you, and I read you this, but I want to talk to you about Jesus real quick, okay? Jesus actually shows us that he rightly divided Scripture. He divided truth from error. And I'm going to give you one example today. Here we go. In Matthew 5:38, Jesus says, "You have heard it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth." So my question is where did his audience in that day hear that? I'm going to tell you where he heard it. They heard it, and what he's referring to. Exodus 21:24, Leviticus 24:20, and Deuteronomy 19:21. 3 different times, 3 different scriptures, and that is where they heard that. That's where it was read from. See, they would stand up and read the scrolls, and that's where people heard that. Okay, did you get it? Okay, because everybody didn't have a Bible back then to read it. So when Jesus says you have heard, what he meant by that is you have heard people teach that. The scribes and Pharisees, the teachers of the day, were teaching this, and they were reading it directly off of these scrolls. Okay, but let's see what Jesus teaches. And actually, Jesus is saying right the opposite. Yes, Jesus separated the truth from man's error, and that is found recorded in the Old Testament. Here's what Jesus said. This is Matthew 5:39. "But I, Jesus, say to you, do not use violence and resist evil, to resist evil. Instead, when someone hits you on the right cheek, turn the other one towards him." Okay. So, as we see, these are opposite. We can't say that the Old Testament is 100% truth when Jesus says, don't do that. Do not do what has been written in Exodus 21:24, Leviticus 24:20, or Deuteronomy 19:21. Do not do that. I know you've heard that, but that's not the truth about how my Father wants us to live. Man, I hope this teaching has blessed you. I'm going to hop off of here and go do a few little errands. And you know, the whole world is just in trouble because they're going to get drenched with love when I go out. I'm just going to smother them in love, and I'm going to make them feel better about themselves if there's any way possible that that can be done. So anyway, let me sign off. I love you, and I'll see you again here tomorrow. Bye-bye.